Welcome to the Daily Dish with Leanne Ely. This is a show about you, your life, and the vibrancy you want. Join us for daily motivation, wise women's tips, and more as we collectively gather together and move the needle in our lives, heart, mind, body, and soul. Now, here is your host, Leanne Ely, and the Daily Dish.
How is everyone doing today? I sure hope you're doing great. Look at mother hens in the house. Cheers to mother hen. Here we go. If you're noticing behind me that it's pretty boring, it's because my sweet son-in-law came and he completely painted everything this weekend. And I will tell you, more is to come behind me. But in the meantime, we have a fresh, clean, white canvas to work off of. Isn't that exciting? I'm so delighted about that. I already see so many lovelies here today. You know, that makes my day. Hello, Catherine and Flynn, Jackie, Jocelyn. It's so good to have you here. You like my hair? I know. I was just telling Jenny how dirty it is. It seriously is. Lisa's in the house. So's our Martha. And of course, you know who else is in the house? It's the dream team. Say hi to Jenny and to Amber and to Lindsay. They're here too. Chris, hello. Diane, it's nice to have you here. Denise, Lisa, thank you. It looks marvelous. I'll tell you what, I like the ease of accomplishment. Can I just tell you? And this, I feel like I'm looking like my mother. My mother used to wear her hair like this. And that's okay because I love my mom. Loved her. Love her and loved her. So we have things to do this week. This whole week, we are going to be discussing the paradox of change, which to me blew the top of my head off and absolutely 100% changed my life. So do take notes this week. I'm hoping it lands the same way it landed with me. It still lands like this with me. You know, it still does. And if you are not getting our show notes, you can get them at savingdinner.com. It's our daily newsletter, and they're every day's news every day. You're going to get a daily newsletter, and you'll get the show notes from the day before. So check that out. That's really important. Hey, Jeanette. There's Lisa's giving everybody a hello. Isn't she so sweet? Short hair is so much easier. Charlene, thank you. I appreciate that. I'll tell you, it is so much easier. Denise is in the house. Hello, Denise. And there's our girl, Lucy. And also, did I say thank you to everyone who made my birthday so wonderful? I had all these Facebook posts. I had all these posts in our group on the Hot Melt Sprint. And you know, honestly, I just looked through them and just kind of sniffled and thanked everybody. And I'm probably going to keep it like that, just simply because going back and doing all of that, my time is spent better just talking to you here. You know, I love you. That's what it's all about. We do the hokey pokey. This coming Monday is our sprint webinar. You can go get signed up for it right now. savingdinner.com/sprint. That's how you get signed up for the webinar. And it's also going to give you all kinds of linky poos and what have you. So do that now is a good time to do it. You know why? I'm going to tell you exactly why. When you do this, then your place is reserved and you will get the replay for sure. If you can't make it live. So I like it. Thanks, Darla. I appreciate that. So sweet. How do I curl my hair? That's a demo. I mean, I just use a curling iron and just take it and, you know, it's got natural curl to it already, but it likes to frizz. So I just curl the parts that look frizzy. That's how I do it. I don't know. You know, hey, Noreen, I'm glad you're here. The quote of the week is a new one. This is from Millard Fuller. It's easier to act your way into a new way of thinking than think your way into a new way of acting. Now, this isn't faking it till you're making it. This is doing it till you become it. Because this is a call to action. Act your way. Do it. Get her done, right? That's how it works. I love that stuff. Supplement of the week is organic ACV. How many of you use this? This is fantastic stuff, by the way. Especially in the sprint, I suggest that you take a tablespoon of organic ACV because it helps with digestion, helps with assimilation of fats, helps with a whole bunch of stuff. It's also a prebiotic for your gut. But for some of us, and especially I have noticed women like me with thyroid issues, the flavor and the taste, it's not so much that, ew, I don't like the taste, but it just burns my esophagus, even with all that water. So here you go, organic ACV to the rescue. If you buy 3, you'll get the 4th one absolutely free, and it's a screaming deal. Find them at savingdinner.com/show. This is how you get the best deals. And so many of you took advantage of it with our beauty support last week. And we love supporting you with this. We love making sure that you have everything that you need in order to keep your supplements going. Because when we are regular with our supplements, we take them on an ongoing basis that we get results. Otherwise, we're just playing. Have you ever noticed that? You go all in and you're working out and then you're done. Have you noticed that when you go and you do it, like you sprint for a week and then 3 weeks out of the month, then you just go back to the same old stuff? You don't really seem to make any headway. Same thing with supplements. Consistency is your best friend. And this is how you stay stocked up and how you do not lose ground. Keep that in mind. It's a good thing to do. And I did show you the hot milk mix because that's what we're drinking right now, by the way. You can go get that as well. We have all the information for that. Q&A is always on Friday. You know that. Send your emails in. It's via email to support@savingdinner.com. Put question for Leanne on Friday. I will take care of you. You will see me on Friday giving you answers to the questions you ask. And remember, I'm not a doctor. I'm a nutritionist. But I do have some good information that will help. I promise. The other thing I want you to know is starting tomorrow is our confidence course. I could not be more excited about that. Here they are. These are the workbooks that have come, and I mean, they're beautiful. The color, the design, of course, is impeccable. Thank you so much. This is our amber all over it. And the whole 8-week course is just absolutely, it's going to hit the spot. Especially, one of the things, we had a really good question when we did the confidence webinar, and that was, what if I have confidence in one area and I don't in the other? That's a really good question. You know why? Because most of us are like that. And we need confidence in everything. This is your last call to get in on this program. It begins tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern for 8 weeks. And I'm going to tell you, it's a needle mover. There's some stuff in here that just got me. So go to savingdinner.com/confidence. Get on top of it. You might need this. I'm guessing maybe you do. Hi, Marianne. Also, don't forget about text messaging. Here you go. Grab your phone, pull up your text message application, and put these words into this phone number. 855-960-3720. And then in the message part, put the word join, all in caps. We will send a message back once you send that. And you reply yes, showing that you're confirming your subscription, and you'll be in like Flynn. I love it. Yeah, didn't she do a beautiful job, Nancy? I just love it that you guys, thanks, Michelle. Thank you. I appreciate that. I like having new hair. It's fun having new hair. Do you know how much they cut off? I was down to my nipples. My nipples. Looked like 2 squirrels on the floor fighting. All that hair. Oh my goodness. And the last thing that I have to tell you is Full Bloom. Full Bloom is coming the end of July, 29th and 30th and the 31st if you end up going with our pop-up brunch at the very end. In other words, you get here on Friday night, you will not have to worry about feeding yourself until you go home. It's going to be completely handled, and I cannot tell you how incredible this is going to be. You have 2 options. You can come in person. Please come in person. Or you can do it virtually. We have the option to do it virtually. So check it out at savingdinner.com/bloom. All the information is there. We've got a thread going inside the Hot Milk Sprint group that will give you all the details. And I just want you here because I want to give you all the lovin's. All the lovin's. I've got so many hugs to give out. I can't even tell you. So many hugs. Bring it, bring it, bring it. So if you come, I promise you, you're gonna have quite the time. And last but not least, we have, we're on every social media challenge except Twitter, because Twitter's just is why? Why bother, right? Hi, Angie. It's good to have you here. And Teresa. So our TikTok, however, we're blowing that up. So if you want to be a part of that, I'd love your help. And you just need to go to tiktok.com/savingdinner. That's us. And you'll find us there. Go give us some love. Go follow and do all the things. We're having a good time there. And brand new content. You don't see this anywhere else. That's all I have to say about that. So remember I told you this is the time to take notes, because it is. And by the way, if you missed any of our announcements, we have an announcement page. And that's where we keep the supplement of the week, all the events that we have going on. And you can find that at savingdinner.com // announcements. Okay, just keep that in mind. I'll tell you at the end of the show as well. But we're going to talk about the paradox of change all this week, because this is when we get to this place of embracing change, but also accepting ourselves as we are. That's when the needle moves. And I'm going to tell you, it's fascinating, because what's up with that, right? They're two different things. But Carl Rogers had a really interesting, he's a psychiatrist, and he had his own unique spin on things. And he said, the curious paradox is when I accept myself exactly as I am, then I am able to change. And I really never, I never gave this, I took psychology in college and what have you, and we studied Carl Rogers quite a bit, Psychology 101 you do. But I never gave that a whole lot of attention. And I will tell you, I gave it a lot of attention when I was in the position of finally accepting myself and then making those changes that I wanted to make in my life for over 20 years, and just changed everything. And this is what he calls the paradoxal theory. And the paradoxal theory of change means that when women allow themselves to be fully and awarely in touch with who they are, who they currently are, that's when change and growth is able to occur. And it just emerges, just like a butterfly out of a cocoon, a little baby chick out of an egg. It happens. It's through the struggle. It's through the finding out. It's everything. That's what happens when we come to this place of loving ourselves enough as we are and allowing for the change. And it's a paradox, but it's inevitable, and it is natural too, by the way. So this was an actual therapy that was developed in the 40s and 50s by Fritz and Laura Pearl, P-E-R-L, if you're into, researching all this stuff. And their finding was that their patients experienced two things. One, immediacy in making the changes that they wanted to make. And two, they took personal responsibility for themselves, which only accelerated the ability to make those changes. Fantastic. And this is a kind of a confluence of things that emerge as you're going through all of these things. And it's a fusion of several things. One is self-awareness, self-knowledge, and also your true motives of why you want this change in the first place. That's kind of a critical issue thing. So if we're going to go into this and make this decision that this is indeed what we want, then we've got to start understanding, first of all, let's understand what paradox is. And in the dictionary, it says a seemingly, I love this definition, by the way, a seemingly absurd or self-contradictory statement or proposition that when investigated or explained may prove to be well-founded or true, right? Amen to that. So there are several paradoxes in life, I think. And I've got like, I think I wrote 7 of them just to prove the point, because I think it's important for us to understand how accepting ourselves is going to be the impetus for the change that we want in our lives. Because, nobody's completely 100% satisfied. Here I am, and I'm just, everything is great. Well, I think it needs to be that we're never quite satisfied, because this is how we grow. That's how we just say, yeah, this is great. I love where I am. I love what I'm doing. I love my life, and I want this more thing. And that's not a bad thing. That doesn't mean that it has to be perfect. That just means that you want to experience and become all that you can possibly be. I think it's a beautiful thing, don't you? I really do. Hey, Corliss, Barbara, good to have you here. Hi, Jane. Thank you. So the truth is, reality isn't necessarily bound by logic. I mean, how often I think logical sequential things all the time, but logic is limited, and that's when paradox shows up, of course. So here we go. I've got 7 paradoxes for you. Are you ready? The first one is the pursuit of happiness. And Eleanor Roosevelt said it really great. She said, happiness is not a goal, it's a byproduct. In other words, it's a byproduct by living your best and fullest life, by not being completely satisfied and striving for more, and to become more, and to become more of who you're supposed to be. Isn't that great? Number 2, the only certainty is uncertainty. The future cannot be predicted. Duh. Although I have to give a plug for my grandmother. We called her Earthquake Edna. She was born in 1900 in Belfast, Ireland. Okay, so you can imagine what my grandmother saw. Gosh, she'd be 122 if she had made it this far. My goal is to live to be 122. So, Grandma, this is for you. But my grandmother used to call, and she'd say in a very lovely Irish brogue, which I can't exactly imitate, but I remembered, she'd say, Peter, to my dad. My dad's name was Peter. So's my son. You know that. Peter, you need to be aware. There's an earthquake coming. And my dad would say, earthquake, Edna, just give me a break. Sure enough, the next day we would have boom, 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 a big earthquake. So my grandmother was that woman, and she was uncanny on how often she would predict this kind of stuff. But I believe that making peace with uncertainty is making peace with yourself, because I don't know of a single solitary person that hasn't had to deal with uncertainty in their life. It's part and parcel, And when we, instead of going, oh my gosh, and just acting like our heads are exploding off our shoulders, instead, when we go to the place and say, uncertainty is just part of the process, then we're not going to be blown away as much, and we're going to be a little calmer in dealing with that uncertainty. You know what I'm saying about that? Number 3 is too many choices means indecision, right? How many times have you been to even a Chinese restaurant, and they have 15 lo meins and 800 chicken dishes and all of this, and you're just looking at page after page after page, and you're saying to yourself, I don't even know where to start. Have you ever done that? Or even just going to a website. Amazon could be like that. All you want is dog food, and there you are with 15 pages of dog food, of things that you need to look at. It seems like a good idea to have a multiple choices and a whole lot of choices, but too many options create indecisiveness, paradoxically. All right? Of course it does. We think we want endless options, but I'm going to tell you right now, I know this. After 27 years of coaching women, 27 more than 28, 29 now, I guess, gosh. But after all these years of doing this, do you know what I have found? I have found that women don't want that. They want to be given a couple of different options. Do A or B, not A through Z. Too hard, too difficult. What am I going to choose? It's too much. And you know what happens when you have too many decisions to make? You don't make any decision. You just back away and say, oh, you know what? That's just not for me. It's just not for me. And then what happens is you get left with way less than what you want. Because unfortunately, not making a decision is making a decision, and it usually defaults to the thing that you don't want. Another paradox. Number 4 is failure leads to success. We all want success, but if we understand that failure helps to create our experience files, remember that? The experience file? Your experience file is the very thing that helps to lead you to the place of learning a lesson. And in the experience file is the value of the lesson, not the heartbreak, not the trauma, not all the garbage, just that. Plain and simple. Just the experience, which teaches you not to make the same mistake again. That's everything. And we've been taught to avoid it. We've been taught to avoid even the illusion of failure. Just pretend, just smile your way through. Just see that it's not, pretend that it's not happening. It's garbage. But I'm going to say right now that when we embrace these very powerful Edison moments where we didn't figure out how to make it work, then that's when we go back and we use them to create the success that we're seeking. We need this. We need this. This is how all great inventions even happen. We talk about Edison, and I call them the Edison moments because it took him so long to get that light bulb to work. But the point is that each one of us has in our lives places where we've tried and we haven't been able to go there. We haven't been able to get to that place. And when we pull back and we examine and analyze what is going on here, and we learn from the failure, this time do this a little bit different. This time don't make it so hard on yourself. This time do X, Y, and Z. And I'll say that with the sprint, same thing. I had a woman, I was coaching her, and I finally said to her, because she got so hung up on not being able to get chicken feet, because chicken feet make great bone broth. Yes, they do. But she couldn't get it. And I said, buy bone broth in a carton. She also wasn't much of a cook. And I said, don't make it hard on yourself. Make it simple on yourself. And guess what? She did. And she had great success. And we went on to celebrate this win. We don't need to make it hard on ourselves. What we need to do is we need to understand that the failure means we need to rethink things just a little bit better. We need to extrapolate that lesson, put it in the experience file, and allow that to teach us and bring us to the place of success. Because it will, if we have that kind of analysis on it. And number 5 is the more you know, the more you realize you don't know so much. It's true. And I believe that this paradox is the thing that leads us to emotional intelligence, where we can be empathetic and loving and kind, where we can put ourselves in another person's position without even having to experience that. It puts us in a place of humility. It puts us in a place of wisdom and kindness and working from our heart instead of, being so dogmatic. Wouldn't that be kind and great and wonderful and an amazing thing if the whole world embraced this concept and didn't work off of this idea that, they've got it all together, because they don't. Number 6, the more scared you are of doing something, the more you should do it. Now, I always say this, but put aside all the risky stuff that could cause you to lose your life, you don't need to be doing crazy things, but you do need to be risking it when you think, like, for example, if you've been a part of my inner circle or anything like that, a big risk when you're a part of inner circle or the rising tide or even the confidence course is saying, you know what? I've never done anything like this, but I am going to sign up for a hot seat. Because when you do something that feels a little bit uncomfortable, a little out of your comfort zone, my goodness gracious, you have just planted seeds for great change, for becoming, for being the woman that you have been called to be. We can't play it safe with our lives. If we play it safe, we're going to miss out. Have you noticed that? When we risk it, when we go out and we kind of put it out there, we find ourselves in the place of finding, 1, it wasn't as hard as we thought it was going to be, and 2, there was huge lessons there. the growth was intense, and the the feeling of confidence grows. So much happens. 7 years ago, I made a decision to go to France by myself. Mark and I had just started dating. I wasn't going to wait. I was ready. I wanted to go. It was a good time in my life. And I just told him, hey, I'm going to France by myself. See ya. And he was just like, you are? I was like, yeah. I'd never been to the movies by myself. And yet I wanted to do this. I wanted to do this because I was scared to do this. I was scared to travel internationally alone. I was scared, you hear all these things and, oh, you're going to get this and you're going to get kidnapped and all this garbage. And you know what? If you're aware and you're a smart woman and you are aware of your surroundings and what have you, you can handle yourself just fine. I mean, there's probably certain areas in the world you don't want to go. France wouldn't be one of them. But I did that. And I learned I could do hard things. I learned I was capable. And I learned that I was a strong, independent woman. I needed that lesson right then. And I needed to prove that to myself. And this did it for me. It was incredible. What an experience I will never forget as long as I live. So think about, what's your France? What thing can you do that you can prove to yourself you're scared to do it, but you need to do it anyway? Think about it. Think about it. Number 7 is, the more we speak up, the more we're talking, the more we keep opening our mouths and talk, sometimes the less people will listen. That's because wise women have measured words. Their words have impact. They're not just opening their mouth just to talk. They're opening their mouth to contribute. There's a big difference. And when we know this, then we're gonna find ourselves in a different place. And a paradox I bet you aren't using right now is the haters. Anybody coming on to hate you, the doubters, to fuel your fire. Because there is a fire inside of you, and maybe that fire's gone out. Maybe it's time to spark it up and get it going again. Or maybe it's just like some burning embers. I want to blow on that. And I want it hot and burning inside of you, your hot desire to become the woman you've been called to be. And sometimes haters get in the way of that. Sometimes there are things that people say, oh, you can't do that. And rather than slink away with your tail between your legs, girlfriend, this is fodder for your fire. You ready? Number 1, I'm going to show you 4 big things in my life that just completely changed the woman that I am. And I want to say this to you. Yeah, there are some of us who are born that have a natural tendency to be more like this. And some of us, you got to pick it up and just do it anyway. It's an awareness thing, all the way. So for me, maybe I have more of a natural tendency than most to be like this. But on the other hand, it was an informed decision to do this. Number 1, I was in my late 20s. I was working as a title rep. And my boss told me that there is no way that I was going to get an order on my very first month in being in business. And they were taking a big chance on hiring somebody with 0 experience. And I thought to myself, you want to bet? And I went out there and I brought in 2 orders. First time ever that had happened in the company, because I used his naysaying as fuel to work just a little bit harder. And I did. I wore my shoes out. I used to have to take and this is in high heels and pantyhose in Southern California, driving Los Angeles to Orange County, Los Angeles to Orange County, back and forth, up and down stairs, elevators, and everything. Wore my shoes out, and I used to have to take my shoes in every 2 weeks to the shoemaker. They knew me by name, to get little new taps put on. Otherwise, I'd just be walking on nails, because I was heels, folks, heels, pumps. So I did that. When I had my own business, I wanted to own my own business. And remember, I told you the story about the pastor who said, you can't do that. You need to go work for H&R Block and get a real job. Inside of me, I can't even tell you. The fire inside, it was just like, thank you, but no. And basically you're dismissed. Goodbye. See ya. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. And inside of me, I was like, I'm going to blow this thing up. This is going to make I am going to make this business work. That was 21 years ago, by the way. I'm still here. Whoever that guy is, I don't even remember his name. You don't remember your name. Remember the names of the people who did that, do you? You just remember the feeling inside. And then when I remember this doctor, woman doctor too, very much a disappointment. Sitting there when I first got diagnosed in 2002, I guess it was, and my thyroid was just shot, and I remember when I said to her, I've gained 30 pounds in 3 months, and I had already had some weight on me. And she looked at me and she said, are you sure you're not just ordering pizza, too much pizza? And I remember I was so annoyed with that, ticked off, you might say. And then when my test came back and I went to her thing and my thyroid my TSH was like 8 point something, which means, I should have been sitting on the couch. My hair's falling out. I have no eyebrows. My throat's swollen, right? And this is what she says to me. And then I said to her, well, now we have the, information. Of course, she wanted to put me on a synthetic. And I said, no, this is what I want because I'd already done my research. And she rolled her eyes at me. And I remember I said, I really want to get this weight off. And she said, you'll never get the weight off with this kind of a thing going on. And then it was like, oh, you want to bet? And that's how Body Clutter was born, right? That book, well, what was part of the fire that led to that. And Marla's story too. I mean, together we put that all together. A fire inside to say, you want to watch this, watch me, hold my earrings. We're doing this. And then the last one was, I remember also being told, well, you can write these cute little blog posts, you can do all this, but you're never going to get published by a real publisher. Too hard. You have to have an agent. You have to have this. You have to have that. Well, got an agent, got a publishing deal. Ta-da, the rest is history. You're always going to have somebody naysaying you. There's going to be a hater that's going to come along and say, you can't do that. You're too old. You're too ugly. You're too, fill in the blank. Somebody's going to come along and tell you can't. Are you going to give them the power of your life? Or are you going to back away from them and say, no, that what you just said is now going to light this fire because I'm hopping mad. And that's what happened inside, because creating the life that I wanted was on the other side of all the hate and was on the other side of all the doubt. It was. And so I not only proved it to them, not that I was doing it for them, but I was proving it to myself that I don't need to listen to that garbage. I need to listen to me, because inside of me is this small, quiet voice saying, yes, you can. And every time I didn't listen to this audience who was trying to tell me what to do and trying to tell me how to run my life, that's when the voice got louder. Yes, you can. Oh, yes, you can. So allow their contempt to just fuel your desire. Allow it. It's a big flip of the switch. I know that. And for some of you, you might be saying, ooh, maybe good, easy for you, but not for me. Okay, but try it. Maybe it is easier for me. Maybe it's harder for you, but does that mean it's off the table? Absolutely not. Prove them wrong. Prove you can. Show up for yourself. I will tell you right now, paradoxes are seeds for change. The first step is acceptance. And the second step, you're ready to blow everything up. Let the haters hate, let the doubters doubt, and let all of this stuff come and land firmly in your lap, because I believe in you. I believe that you've got this. If you determine that this is the truth, you do. All righty, that's what we're on to this week. You ready to do it? Are you going to pinky up with me and get busy? Let me just tell you this right now too. All the announcements that I made at the very beginning of the show, you will find them at savingdinner.com/announcements. This is where all the deals are, all the events, everything else, bam-o, okay? let's get it done. Love you all. I appreciate you. Peace be with you. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Thanks for watching. Check back for new episodes. If you missed the live show, you can always watch the replay. You can find Saving Dinner on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Until next time, pinkies up.